Madam Deputy Speaker, core to our belief is that no one, no matter what their background, should be trapped by their circumstances. People should have the chance to make the best life they possibly can. Poverty is a barrier to that ambition, and it makes it much harder for people to achieve their full potential. This legislation has its roots in the change made during the Conservative years to introduce the two-child limit of support for families on universal credit. Now, let's be clear at the start about what this was always about. It was never really about welfare reform, nor was it even about saving money. No, this was always first and foremost a political exercise, an attempt to set a trap for opponents, with children used as the pawns in the exercise. This was all about the politics of dividing lines. Dividing lines between so-called shirkers and strivers, between the old distinction of the deserving and undeserving poor. Politics first and policy second every time. I'm very happy to give that. Well, the Right Honourable Gentleman has set out the justification, and I'm about to come on as to why that didn't stack up at the time, and it certainly doesn't stack up after the experience of the policy. And we should begin by considering why none of our neighbouring countries has this two-child limit. And given that it was always primarily about politics, it is no surprise that it did not achieve the policy objectives that the Right Honourable Friend just tried to set out. The Tories claimed that this would lead to people making different choices about the number of children they would have, but that didn't happen. And the family size premise was itself based on the fundamental misconception that there is a static group of people who are always on universal credit. But this is not a static group, not at the moment. People's circumstances change, marriages break up, spouses die, jobs can be lost. In fact, around half of the families who will benefit from the lifting of the two-child limit were not on universal credit when they had any of their children. This is not a static group of people, which strikes directly to the heart of the argument that the Right Honourable Gentleman tried to make. I'm happy to give way.
Well, to the Minister for giving way. 12 months ago, not only did this government support the two-child cap, but it was busy suspending Labour backbenchers who voted against it. Could he tell the House what was it about the Prime Minister's weak position that caused him to change his mind?
Child poverty, unlike you.
Well, I am going to come on to the timing of this and exactly why the timing of this is right in the way that we took the decision. So as I said, not at the moment, as I said, around half the families who will benefit were not on universal credit when they had any of their children. These are people who found themselves in need of help long after any decisions about family size had been taken. And when it came to costs, no account was taken of the costs further down the line. Lower educational attainment, worse mental health, lower earnings, perhaps for the whole of people's working lives. I'm happy to give way to anything I've ever said on this debate, so no, I do not regret that. So all along in this debate, there's been an attempt to divide workers from non-workers. But around 60% of families affected, if she shows a little patience, around 60% of families affected by the current policy are in work. And of those who aren't working, a significant number are affected by serious health conditions or caring responsibilities, circumstances in which any of us could find ourselves. But as I've said, this was never really about work or decisions about family size or saving money. It was political through and through. And it was children who paid the price, with 300,000 more of them going into poverty as a result. Now, the honourable member is very keen, so I'm going to give way to him.
But 300,000.
Order, order.
The ayes to the right, 458. The noes to the left, 104.
Oh, was that to a reform?
The ayes to the right were 458. The noes to the left, 104. So the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Unlock.